on your own production side, what would you consider to be the most influential change to the basic product that we had, or what was the worst construction part in a Stratocaster was, and now is cured by your influence?
Oh gosh, there's so many. A guitar has so many little pieces. Can I make a list? There's not one. There can't be one.
Okay.
You know, I think the significant things over the years that have happened are, I mean, first off, I think we got our first CNC machine in 1988.
Yeah.
And that was significant because it's able to hold tolerances that you just can't do with a pin router. You know, with a pin router, you cut it and then you fix it.
Right.
Until you fiddle with it and work with it until it's the way you want it to be. With a CNC machine, you can not only cut it right the first time, but it also allows you to do things you physically can't do.
Right.
With like the neck pocket that we're doing now, we couldn't do if we had a pin router.
Okay.
There's no way to control the 3 dimensions like you can control with a CNC machine. So I think the CNC machine allowed us to dream a little bigger, allowed us to think about things we could do that we just physically couldn't do with traditional methods. We made guitars with pin routers. Yeah, we did that. It's not like, you know, we did all that stuff. I know all what it takes to do it and experienced it, and it was a great way to learn because it taught you a lot about how wood reacts. A CNC machine holds the piece of wood so well that you don't think about which direction you're going, and so I learned a lot about how wood reacts to cutting and how it moves and changes by running a pin router. Those things that I've applied to how I program the CNC machine. Okay. So that was a huge step forward, partly because the things it does faster, which means your hands are free to do the things that only hands can do. So it allows you the time to spend doing the finesse jobs as opposed to what we used to call tedious dog work. It's the work that it's no fun to do and it's not really rewarding, but it's got to get done. The CNC machine can do those things and do them better probably than most people can.
Okay.
So once that streamlined, it also cut down our reject rate, the wasted materials that just blew up on the pin router, you know, the inconsistencies that couldn't be finished guitars because they weren't good enough. So that was a huge step forward. And then we started just looking, and this is something we still do every day, is we look at how we're building the guitar and what thing is causing us trouble. What thing are we having to adjust? What thing isn't quite coming out the same every time? And we just look at each one of those things and say, which is that thing now? And we work on that until we've solved that problem or got it as good as we believe we can now. Maybe we can do better later.
Tomorrow, okay.
Yeah, and then the next day, then it's, okay, what's the thing that's the number one thing? And that's always going to be going on. You know, we're still refining. We changed that neck pocket in 2006, and we're still fine-tuning how we cut it.
Okay.
It's still the same shape, but we're fine-tuning how we get to that shape.
So that would have been my question. The typical Tom Anderson neck pocket got introduced 2006.
2006, yeah.
Okay.
Well, we actually introduced it, I think, in 2004 on one model.
Okay.
We did a new model, and I said, that's where I'm going to put this new thing.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's not a Strat, it's not a Tele. We're going to do this on that model and make it unique.
So you're not going to get blamed for leaving history too far.
Right.
The path. Okay.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, guitar players are very traditional, so when you change something like that, we still hear about, there are only two bolts on that neck pocket.
You want to tell the people, the folks in Germany, why it works?
Yeah, in a traditional Fender style neck pocket, you have a flat bottom pocket in the guitar and you have a flat bottom neck, and you put those two pieces together there, and you hope that 4 screws will keep it from doing this. Yeah. Which is, even if it's a perfect fitting neck pocket, if the headstock, which is 30 inches away from that joint, gets bumped, the neck's going to move, and the strings are going to hang off one side of the neck, and the guitar is going to be hopelessly out of tune. Yeah. So you're not going to finish that song. So the idea was, how do we put two pieces of wood together so that they only fit in one place? And our solution, I'm sure there's multiple ways you could do this, but our solution was, if the pocket is a tapered wedge shaped, and the neck is a tapered wedge shape, There's only one way they can go together.
Yeah.
There is no possibility for a shifting in that pocket. So that's where we started from and came up with that shape. Yeah. And it allowed some extra benefits other than just being an alignment point. There's more surface area inside that joint, and all four surfaces are pressurized, if you will. There's pressure against all four of those surfaces. They all have to touch perfectly. So it's actually been a very difficult piece to execute on a regular basis. Right. It requires a thousandth of an inch can make it not fit right. We have to fine tune when the builders put those together. They all have to be perfect. So we're in there with as good as a CNC machine can be. It's still wood, and wood moves. Yeah. So we're in there with sanding blocks, making that last before it's just assembled, that last perfect fit possible. It also allowed us to have a heel that was more rounded, more comfortable, which gave us better access to the upper end. So we got a neck alignment that can't go wrong. We got a nicer connection between neck and body, and we started noticing that, hey, the guitars are all sounding a little fuller and rounder sounding when we started changing this. We didn't make one and make that deduction. Okay. After a year of doing that, we went, these all sound fuller, and that's something I think I learned from Bob Taylor, is you really have to do something for a while. To then turn back. And then look back on it and say, so, how are the guitars this year compared to last year? Are they different, And they are. And they are, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so that was a big one for us at that point in time. Before that, for me personally, and I chose to do it for the whole company, in 1996, Buzz Featon came to us with his tuning system, which is an slightly altered way of building a guitar and a different way to intonate a guitar. And for me, it was life-changing because I had done a lot of acoustic guitar playing with a piano. Acoustic piano and acoustic guitar. Okay. If you've ever done that, you have to retune your guitar depending what key you're playing in, because just certain chords don't work at all. And he altered one of my acoustic guitars, and I was able to tune my guitar once and play in any key anywhere on my neck with that piano, and it was seriously life-changing for me. So we started from the day he showed up and showed us that. We went back and altered the necks that were in production. We changed everything and continued to do the Buzz Featon tuning system. So
what is it exactly? Well, it depends on the neck slot and the bridge, or
not slot and the bridge. If you look at a guitar, when you push the string down at any fret on the guitar, other than the first fret, the string does this, so it's equal tension. When you push down at the first fret, it's not the same. The nut doesn't. There's no space there behind it, so it takes more tension to push down at the first fret than any other fret. Okay. So his solution to that was move the nut closer to the first fret, so that the string wasn't. So an F on a traditional guitar, it's very difficult. The nut has to be cut super low for the F to not be sharp. Okay. Yeah. So with the nut moved, the F can be where it belongs.
So basically, the first distance of the first fret is smaller.
Yes, smaller. And then the intonation at the bridge is not set so that at the 12th fret it's all even. It's not zero offset. So there are different offsets for different strings. And honestly,
I tell people what it is, because if I would try to reset up the guitar after 2 years,
I can send
I would kind of go for a 12th fret.
Yeah, and we have people tell us that they've got their guitar and they played it and they were like, and then a little bit later they go, oh, I checked my intonation and it was way off, so I fixed it. And they made it normal.
Bad move.
And they go, but it doesn't sound in tune now. What's going on? It doesn't sound as good as it did. So there are offsets, and we can send a list of...
That's important for people to know.
There are tuners you can buy that have the offsets in them, and there are tuners you can buy that you can program the offsets. Okay. There's a particular tuner that we love the best because it's so fast.
You can say the name, I don't mind.
It's Sonic Research Turbo Tuner. It's the fastest tuner out there. And why that's important is that when you hit a note, and it reads something. If you let that note sustain, it will drift flat.
Yeah.
As time goes, it will drift flat. And you want to tune to the attack.
Yeah.
Because notes don't sit for very long
Normally.
Normally you're playing and you're moving, so you really wanted that attack to be correct. So the Sonic Research Tuner can tune to that. It tracks that quickly.
Okay.
And what you can do is when you're tuning, you can hit the string every second.
Okay.
You know, while you're watching and adjusting. So you don't have to sit there and hit it and wait and try to adjust. You know, you can keep hitting it and it will track that fast.
Okay.
So it's really important that that's the way it works. So some people don't agree that the system is better, and if they don't agree, they can intonate normally and live with how that sounds. Moving the nut is a good idea whether you do the offsets or not. So there's no reason not to move the nut. Over the years, different people have had different ideas about how to make the tuning work better. And what Buzz did that was, to me, what was different is he came up with a system and said, this is the way you do it.
Okay.
You know, if you use this gauge of strings, this ballpark, 9 to 11s, these are the numbers that work with those.
Okay.
If you're using heavier strings, then...
But you're still able to choose within the main grades.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It's not completely individual per string set.
Yeah, right.
Because like I tend to play a 10 to 52, which would be
That's fine.
both sides of it.
Yeah, that's in the range.
That's in the range.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, that was a really big thing.
Okay.
It really affected me in a great way, and I know it does for a lot. And for some that don't get it, that's okay. Some people's left-hand technique is they grip so hard that everything's out of tune, and this isn't going to solve that, And some people are used to hearing it a certain way, and they actually compensate when they play.
Yeah.
They bend things where they need to go, so they don't want to relearn to play.
Relearn
And that's fine too.
That's fine.
Ultimately, it's whatever works for the player. But this, for me, was such a significant thing that I wanted to do it on all our guitars. Then in 2002, we started doing stainless steel frets.
Okay.
And that was another thing for me that was so far and above better than what nickel silver did for several reasons that we switched everything over in 2002 to that. I started playing with stainless steel frets in 2000 on my personal guitars to see
how it develops.
They were.
So that
what is
you'd be
this
able
thing?
to turn back and say it is
Yes.
better.
Yeah. 2 years later, this guitar plays better than what we do brand new. So,
Okay.
And so the benefits of stainless steel are, one, it's a such harder material and polish is so smooth that when you bend strings, it feels like they're just sliding across the fret. So the amount of pressure it takes to push a string is lower. So some people find they can actually use a little bit heavier string and still feel like they can bend it.
Okay.
Or use lower frets and still be able to bend. Because
Okay.
it doesn't require the pressure to push. Because they're harder, they last
Forever.
I wouldn't
Not
say
forever,
forever.
but yeah.
I have not yet refretted a guitar since 2000 that had stainless in it.
Okay.
We had one guy who is just a beast. I mean, he is just, he's an animal. He's a great player, but he's as aggressive as they come. And he wore out the small frets in his Crowdster, which is an acoustic electric.
Yeah.
No, mostly in the lower register.
Of course.
So lots of cowboy chords and, but on electric guitars that we do, we have not refretted one stainless steel guitar. And the other thing is people talk about how they sound, and I would just, again, challenge any blindfold test there. We've refretted quite a number of guitars that had nickel frets and put stainless frets, and not one person has said my guitar sounds brighter.
So we bring in a bunch of our people for blindfolded tests.
Yeah.
We have like 3 options so far. We have the regular maple versus the caramel roasted maple versus the chocolate maple.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Plus regular frets versus stainless steel frets.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's a
Folks
hard...
enjoy that trick. It's going to be hard, I tell you.
That's a hard one to do because you've really got, it's got to be the same guitar.
Of course.
So that's where it's been great to have customers who have had their guitars for a length of time and are very intimately familiar with how it sounds and feels. And then you change the frets in it and they go home and go, oh my gosh, it just plays, it feels so great. And we had one guy who is we love him, but he is the pickiest person on the planet.
Okay.
I mean, he feels and hears and sees things that no one else does.
He's your quality control, basically.
No, he's a crazy person.
Okay.
but we love him because what he hears is real. And he came back. He was the only one that came back and said, the stainless steel does sound a little different. My low strings are richer now.
Okay.
So it was not a negative comment by
Okay,
any means.
yeah.
I think the people that judge stainless frets have certainly never heard them in the same guitar, or they're comparing different guitar. You know, I don't know how you could come up to that conclusion. Now there are different companies making stainless materials, some harder and some softer. So there could be some variation there, or how they put them in. Maybe they didn't put them in great. Maybe they didn't get dressed great. We've been doing it so long that we know how to treat the material.
There's plenty of more work to be done.
Yeah, yeah. So that was another significant thing.
So,
And then finish. You know, over the years, you know, our older finishes were softer urethanes. The new finish, the base and top coat is a UV cured polyester finish, as thin as we could possibly make it. And to me, it sounds wonderful. I love what it does. I like the sound of a finished guitar more than an unfinished guitar.
that's what I heard from Paul Reed Smith. He said if we have a body that's unlacquered, it has much more mid-nose in it. And when there's lacquer on it, kind of clears up with the lacquer.
Yeah, to me, the handful of guitars we've done without finish have all sounded thin to me. The low end sounded thin to me, which I was surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd expect, well, it's free to vibrate, but yeah,
Right.
a hard finish is a good thing, I think.
Thank you for all the information.
Sure.
We let you escape to develop more of the future. Come back with good ideas.
I would love to do that.
We would love to come back in 5 years and see where you're gone.
You would be welcome anytime.
And we'll definitely try to find a place in Germany to try one out personally.
Perfect.
Thank you very much
Okay.
for showing us the factory.
All right.
We're going to be, when we are online, you get all the information you can look through and hit our shoulders or hit our fingers if it went wrong. So you get a chance to look what we've done to the report and the information. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you all.